The bass pulsed through my ribs like a second heartbeat, drowning out the warning voice in my head that said, I shouldn't have come here alone. Crimson light swept across the crowd at Obsidian, painting faces in blood-red flashes before swallowing them back into darkness. I pressed closer to the bar, my fingers wrapped around a glass of wine I hadn't touched. The liquid trembled with each thud of the music, tiny ripples that matched the unease crawling up my spine. I'd felt him watching me for 3 days now. At the coffee shop on Tuesday morning, outside my apartment building Wednesday evening, and now here in the one place I'd thought I could disappear into a faceless crowd. Another. The bartender leaned in, his voice barely cutting through the noise. I shook my head. My mouth was too dry to drink, but putting the glass down felt like admitting defeat, like acknowledging that I was prey. The song changed, something darker, more primal, and the crowd shifted. Bodies pressed closer. Someone's shoulder knocked into mine, and wine sloshed over my hand. I cursed, reaching for a napkin, and that's when I saw him. Not the stalker. Someone else. He stood at the edge of the dance floor like a knife slicing through water, perfectly still, while chaos moved around him. Tall, dressed in black that seemed to absorb the flashing lights rather than reflect them. His face was angular, brutal in its beauty, sharp cheekbones, a jaw that could cut glass, and eyes that found mine across 30 feet of writhing bodies. My breath stopped. He didn't smile, didn't move, just looked at me with an intensity that made my skin burn. Then his gaze shifted, tracking something behind me with the precision of a predator who just scented blood. The hair on the back of my neck stood up. I turned slowly, my heart hammering against my ribs. There near the bathroom corridor, a man in a gray jacket. Average height, average build, the kind of face you'd forget immediately. Except I'd seen it before. Tuesday, Wednesday, tonight. My stalker. He was staring at me with eyes that were too wide, too hungry. His hand moved to his pocket, and every survival instinct I had screamed at me to run. I spun back toward the bar, abandoning my wine, ready to push through the crowd toward the exit. But a hand closed around my wrist firm, hot, impossibly strong. The voice was low, edged with command. And something darker. I looked up into eyes the color of smoke and steel. The man in black. Up close, he was even more devastating and more dangerous. Everything about him radiated controlled violence, from the precise way he held himself to the slight bulge beneath his jacket that could only be a weapon. Let go of me, I said, but my voice came out breathless instead of firm.
He's watching. His thumb pressed against my pulse point, and I knew he could feel how fast my heart was racing. If you run now, he'll follow. If you scream, you'll cause a scene that will get people hurt.
Who are you? Someone who can help you, or not, your choice. His eyes flicked past me again, tracking my stalker. But you need to decide in the next 5 seconds because he's moving. Panic clawed up my throat. What do you want me to do? Something shifted in his expression. A flicker of approval, maybe, or satisfaction. He pulled me closer, his other hand sliding to the small of my back, guiding me against him until we were pressed together like lovers on the dance floor. Put your arms around my neck, he ordered quietly. My Massey.
My blood turned to ice. How do you know my name?
His hand tightened on my waist, a warning. Your stalker isn't the only one who's been watching you. But unlike him, I'm here to make sure you survive the night. He leaned down, his breath hot against my ear. Now put your goddamn arms around my neck before I make the decision for you. My hands moved on their own, trembling as they slid up his chest, solid muscle beneath expensive fabric, and linked behind his neck. He smelled like smoke and bergamot, and something darker I couldn't name. Good girl. The word sent an unwanted shiver down my spine. He's 10 feet away. When I kiss you, don't pull away. Don't flinch. Make it look real. His mouth came down on mine before I could finish. The world exploded into sensation. His lips were firm, demanding, moving against mine with a practiced confidence that made my knees weak. One hand tangled in my hair, tilting my head back while the other splayed possessively across my spine. It wasn't gentle. It wasn't safe. It was the kind of kiss that branded you, that made you forget your own name.
Should have been terrified.
Instead, I kissed him back. His body went rigid with surprise for half a second before he deepened the kiss, his tongue sweeping against mine in a way that made heat pool low in my belly. The music, the crowd, even my stalker, everything dissolved until there was only this. His mouth, his hands, the dangerous thrill of surrendering to a stranger, more frightening than the man who'd been following me. When he finally pulled back, we were both breathing hard. "He's gone," he said, his voice rough. But he didn't let me go. For now.
His hands were still on me when reality crashed back in.
I shoved against his chest, stumbling backward until my hip collided with the table. My lips felt swollen, burning with the memory of his mouth. Around us, people danced and laughed, oblivious to the fact that my entire world had just tilted on its axis. What the hell was that? I demanded, though my voice shook. He straightened his jacket with calm precision, his eyes never leaving mine. In the crimson light, they looked almost black, a convincing performance. Your stalker bought it. He left through the north exit 2 minutes ago. You had no right. I had every right. He stepped closer, and I hated that I didn't move away. You want to know why he disappeared the moment I kissed you? Because he recognized what you're too naive to see.
And what's that?
His smile was sharp enough to draw blood. That you're mine now. The words hung between us like a blade. I should have laughed, should have thrown my drink in his face and walked away. Instead, I found myself rooted to the spot, my heart hammering against my ribs as he studied me with those predator's eyes. I don't even know you, I said.
Marathi.
He said it like I should recognize the name. When I didn't react, something flickered across his face. Amusement, maybe, or disappointment. And you're Isabel Chen, 26, art restoration specialist at the Sinclair Museum, lives alone in apartment 4C on Ashford Street, drinks vanilla lattes, takes the same route to work every day, and recently noticed she was being followed. Ice flooded my veins. You've been watching me, observing. There's a difference. He tilted his head, and the gesture was almost serpentine. Your stalker is Kevin Marsh, former security guard, fired from the museum 3 weeks ago for inappropriate conduct. Want to guess who reported him? My mouth went dry. I had reported someone a guard who'd made comments about my body, who'd found excuses to touch my shoulder, my hand. HR had been discreet. I thought it was over. He's escalating, Dante continued, his voice dropping lower. Following you was phase 1. Breaking into your apartment while you were at work was phase 2.
But it came out as a whisper.
2 days ago, he didn't take anything, just looked through your things, touched them. His jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. Smelled your pillows. Bile rose in my throat. I wrapped my arms around myself, suddenly cold despite the press of bodies. How do you know all this? Because I had cameras installed in your apartment after the first time I saw him following you. The club seemed to spin. You had cameras. That's illegal. That's unnecessary. He caught my wrist when I tried to push past him, his grip iron-wrapped in silk. You want to run home to your violated sanctuary? Fine. But he knows where you live, Isabel. He has a key now. Copied it yesterday while you were at the museum. And the police. His laugh was bitter. They'll tell you to file a report and wait until he actually hurts you. Shh. Let go of me. Not yet. He pulled me closer, his other hand cupping my jaw with surprising gentleness. His thumb brushed my cheekbone, and I hated the way my breath hitched. You have 2 choices. Walk away right now, go home, and wait for him to make his move, or accept my help.
Why would you help me? You don't know me.
Something dark and complicated moved through his expression. Let's just say I have a vested interest in keeping certain people safe. His thumb traced my bottom lip, still sensitive from his kiss. And you intrigue me. That's not an answer. It's the only one you're getting tonight. He released me, but didn't step back. My car is outside. I have a secure location where you can stay until this is handled. His smile didn't reach his eyes. You really want that answer? I didn't. God help me, I didn't, because I could see the violence in him now, coiled beneath expensive clothes and careful control. Dante Moretti wasn't a good man. Whatever he was, whatever he did, it lived in shadows and left bodies behind. But Kevin Marsh had been in my apartment, had touched my things, had smelled where I slept.
If I go with you, I said slowly, what do you want in return?
Smart girl. Approval colored his tone. I want you to trust me. Follow my instructions. Don't ask questions I can't answer. That's it. For now, his hand moved to the small of my back, guiding me toward the exit. Come on, we're leaving. I haven't said yes yet. He paused, looking down at me with those smoke and steel eyes. Yes, you have. You said yes the moment you kissed me back. His voice dropped to a whisper that only I could hear. You felt it too, didn't you? That pull, like recognition. I wanted to deny it, wanted to tell him he was insane, but my traitorous body remembered the heat of his mouth, the way his hands had felt on my skin, and the terrifying thrill of surrendering to someone dangerous. One night, I heard myself say, I'll stay one night and then I'm going to the police. His smile was slow, predatory, and utterly confident. Whatever you say, Bella. He led me through the crowd with a hand at my back, and people moved out of our way without seeming to realize they were doing it. Outside, the November air bit through my thin dress. A black Mercedes waited at the curb, engine running, driver invisible behind tinted windows. Dante opened the back door, and I hesitated. This was it. The moment of no return. I looked back at the club, at the false safety of crowds and noise. And then I thought of Kevin Marsh in my bedroom, touching my clothes, breathing in my scent.
I slid into the car.
Dante followed, and the door closed behind us with the soft finality of a prison cell locking shut. The car moved through the city like a shark, through dark water, silent, predatory, purposeful. I sat rigidly in the leather seat, hyper aware of Dante beside me. He'd removed his jacket, revealing a crisp white shirt that emphasized the breadth of his shoulders. A shoulder holster crossed his chest, the gun a brutal reminder of what he was. Where are we going? I asked, watching streetlights blur past the tinted windows. That's not an answer. He turned his head, and in the dim interior, his face was all sharp angles and shadow. You'll see in 10 minutes. Patience, Bella. Stop calling me that.
Why?
His lips curved slightly. It bothers you. You don't know me well enough for pet names. I know you bite your lower lip when you're nervous. His gaze dropped to my mouth. I know you crossed your legs 3 times in the last 5 minutes, trying to get comfortable but failing. I know your pulse is racing, and you're debating whether jumping from a moving vehicle is worth the risk. My breath caught. I wasn't... Yes, you were. He shifted closer, and I caught that scent again. Smoke, bergamot danger. For the record, we're going 60 miles per hour. You break bones. Probably your neck. Comforting. I'm not here to comfort you, Isabel. I'm here to keep you alive. The car turned down a tree-lined street I didn't recognize, then through iron gates that opened automatically. My stomach dropped as we wound up a private drive toward a mansion that looked like it had been carved from moonlight and money. 3 stories of pale stone, tall windows glowing gold, manicured gardens stretching into darkness. This is your idea of a safe house. I breathed. This is my home. The car stopped beneath a portico, and Dante opened his door. I didn't move. I can't stay here. It's too much. He leaned back in, his face level with mine. Kevin Marsh drove past your apartment 17 minutes ago. Slow. Looking for your car. In 3 hours, when you don't come home, he'll start getting desperate. His hand cupped my cheek, thumb brushing my jaw. Do you really want to be alone when that happens?
Fear won over pride. I let him help me from the car.
The entrance hall was obscene in its elegant marble floors that reflected chandelier light, a sweeping staircase, artwork that probably cost more than I'd earn in 10 years. But what caught my attention was the man standing at attention near the door, tall, muscular, with a scar bisecting his left eyebrow, armed. Marco will show you to your room, Dante said, already moving toward a hallway that led deeper into the house. Get some rest. We'll talk in the morning. Wait. I caught his arm, and he went still beneath my touch. The muscles were like iron. You can't just bring me here and disappear. I need answers. I need... What you need, he interrupted, turning to face me fully, is sleep, food, safety. In that order. His expression softened almost imperceptibly. I know you're scared. I know this is overwhelming, but I gave you my word I'd protect you. And I don't break my promises. Why should I trust you? He smiled then, and it was the saddest thing I'd ever seen. You shouldn't, but right now, I'm all you have. He left before I could respond, disappearing down the hallway with that predator's grace. Marco gestured toward the staircase with professional courtesy, and I followed because I didn't know what else to do. My room was on the second floor, a suite that could have swallowed my entire apartment. King-size bed with silk sheets, attached bathroom with a tub big enough for 3 people, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking gardens that seemed to go on forever. There's clothing in the closet, Marco said from the doorway, his voice surprisingly gentle. Your size. Toiletries in the bathroom. If you need anything, press the button by the bed. Someone will come. How did he know my size? Marco's expression didn't change. Mr. Moretti is thorough. He left, closing the door with a soft click. I heard the lock engage from the outside. My hand started shaking. I crossed to the windows, testing them. Locked. 3 stories up. No balcony, no fire escape. I was trapped in a beautiful cage with a man I didn't know, who somehow knew everything about me. The bathroom called to me like a siren song. I locked myself inside, that only door I controlled, and turned on the shower as hot as I could stand. Under the spray, I finally let myself fall apart. Silent sobs racked my body as reality crashed down. Kevin Marsh in my apartment, Dante's cameras watching me. That kiss. God, that kiss. I scrubbed my skin until it was raw, trying to wash away the feeling of being watched, hunted, claimed. When I emerged, wrapped in a towel that cost more than my rent, I found clothes laid out on the bed. Someone had been in the room while I showered, soft pajamas in dove gray, still warm as if fresh from a dryer. I touched them with trembling fingers, fighting the urge to check every corner for cameras. I dressed and climbed into bed, but sleep felt impossible. My mind raced through everything that had happened, trying to make sense of it. Who was Dante Moretti? What did he really want from me? And why did part of me, the irrational, self-destructive part, want to find him right now and demand answers? I was still awake an hour later when I heard it. Footsteps in the hallway, stopping outside my door. The handle turned slowly, testing the lock. My heart climbed into my throat. Then so quiet, I almost missed it. Sleep, Bella. You're safe here. Dante's voice, rough with something I couldn't name. The footsteps retreated, and I was left alone in the dark, wondering why his words felt more like a promise than a threat. Wait. I woke to sunlight streaming through windows I'd forgotten to cover and the smell of coffee. For one blissful moment, I thought I was home. Then I saw the silk sheets, the chandelier, the room that cost more than my yearly salary, and everything came rushing back. Kevin Marsh, Dante Moretti, the kiss that still burned on my lips. Someone had left a tray on the nightstand, coffee, pastries, fresh fruit arranged like art, a note in sharp, masculine handwriting. Eat. Then find me in the study, 3rd door on the left downstairs. I showered quickly, grateful for the clothes that fit perfectly. Dark jeans, a soft cream sweater. even undergarments in my exact size, which should have creeped me out, but instead made me wonder just how thorough Dante's surveillance had been. The house was quieter in daylight, but no less intimidating. I passed rooms that looked like museum exhibits, a library with leather-bound books climbing to the ceiling, a dining room with a table that could seat 20, a music room with a grand piano polished to mirror brightness. The third door on the left was slightly ajar. I knocked anyway.
Come in. His voice carried that same dark authority as last night.
Dante's study was all masculine elegance, dark wood, floor-to-ceiling windows, a desk that looked like a battlefield command center. But what caught my attention were the monitors mounted on one wall, displaying security feeds from a dozen different locations, including my apartment.
You're watching my home right now. I said, anger flaring hot in my chest.
He didn't look up from the laptop in front of him. I'm watching Kevin Marsh. There's a difference. He typed something, then finally met my eyes. He tried your door at 3 a.m., stood outside for 20 minutes listening, then left. The coffee I'd drunk threatened to come back up. And you didn't think to wake me? Tell me? Why? So you could panic uselessly. He closed the laptop with deliberate care. You are safe here. That's what matters.
This is my life, my choices.
I stalked toward his desk, furious at his calm. You don't get to make decisions for me just because what he stood. And suddenly I was aware of how tall he was, how the desk no longer separated us. Because I kissed you, because you came willingly into my car. He moved around the desk with that predator's grace, or because deep down you know you need me.
I don't need anyone.
His smile was sharp. Liar. We stood too close, the air between us crackling with tension that had nothing to do with fear and everything to do with the heat I refused to acknowledge. Why are you really helping me? I demanded. And don't give me that vested interest bullshit from last night. Something shifted in his expression. A crack in the armor. He turned away, moving to the windows that overlooked his estate. 3 years ago, I failed to protect someone, a woman. She died because I was too slow, too confident in my ability to control the situation. His shoulders tensed beneath the black shirt. I won't make that mistake again.
The raw pain in his voice startled me. What happened to her?
She was stalked, killed in her own home while I was across the city handling business that seemed more important. He looked back at me, and his eyes were haunted. Her name was Sophia. She was my cousin's wife. I'd promised him I'd keep her safe while he was away.
When?
Don't. The word cut like glass. Don't pity me. I don't deserve it.
He crossed back to his desk, pulling out a folder. Kevin Marsh isn't just obsessed with you, Isabel. He's dangerous. I had him investigated last night. He spread photographs across the desk. My stomach turned. Pictures of me? Dozens of them. Leaving my apartment, walking to work. Inside the museum, some were taken from across the street with a telephoto lens. Others were closer, too close, through my apartment window. In the coffee shop, one was from inside my bedroom, taken from the doorway while I slept. Oh, God. I backed away from the desk, hand over my mouth. There's more. Dante's voice was gentle now, which somehow made it worse. He has a history. 2 previous women filed restraining orders against him. One disappeared before the court date. They never found her body. The room spun. I grabbed the edge of a chair to steady myself. Dante was there in an instant, his hands on my shoulders. Breathe, Bella. Just breathe. He's gonna kill me. The words came out broken. No! His grip tightened. No, he's not. Because I'm going to end this. I looked up at him, searching his face. How? The violence that flickered through his expression should have terrified me. Instead, it felt like salvation. Let me worry about that. Your job is to stay here, stay safe, and trust me.
Right, says Smirking Daddy.
What? For how long?
However long it takes. He released me, but didn't step back. I've already had your museum supervisor informed. You're taking emergency leave. Family crisis. They're very understanding. You can't just rearrange my entire life. I already have.
No apology in his tone. And before you argue, know that I've also frozen Kevin Marsh's bank tickets. Had his parole officer flag him for violating his travel restrictions and ensured that every police precinct in the city has his photo with a warning.
I stared at him. How is that even possible? His smile was cold. You still haven't asked what I do for a living, Isabel? Aren't you curious? My mouth went dry. Should I be? Probably. He moved closer, backing me against the bookshelf. I run this city's oldest import business: shipping, logistics, distribution. His hand came up to cup my face. Some of it's even legal.
I'm a realist.
His thumb traced my cheekbone, and right now this criminal is the only thing standing between you and a psychopath who wants to own you. This is insane. Yes, he agreed, but you're still here. 3 days passed in Dante's gilded prison, and I learned the rhythm of captivity. Mornings meant coffee on the terrace, while Marco stood guard at a discreet distance. Afternoons I spent in the library, losing myself in books because thinking about Kevin Marsh made my skin crawl. Evenings were the hardest dinner alone in the vast dining room, while Dante conducted business behind closed doors, his voice occasionally rising in Italian that sounded like violence wrapped in silk. He was always gone by the time I finished eating. Always back after I'd retreated to my room, but I felt him in the hallway outside my door late at night, in the way certain books appeared on my nightstand, art history texts I'd mentioned loving, in the fresh flowers that materialized in my room each morning, always white roses. No note, no explanation.
On the fourth night, I couldn't take it anymore.
I found him in his study at midnight, jacket discarded, sleeves rolled up to reveal forearms corded with muscle. He was pouring whiskey into a crystal glass, his face illuminated by the glow of multiple monitors. One showed my apartment empty, dark, waiting.
And we'll have you sleep. He said, with us sleep. He said, without turning around.
So should you. I closed the door behind me, suddenly aware I was wearing only the silk pajamas he'd provided. His eyes tracked the movement, lingering on the hollow of my throat before meeting my gaze. Can't sleep in a strange bed? His voice was rough, like he'd been talking or shouting for hours. Can't sleep knowing I'm a prisoner. With locked windows and an armed guard, I moved into the room, drawn by something I didn't want to examine. What's the difference? He took a long drink, then set the glass down with deliberate care. A prisoner wants to leave. Do you? The question hung between us, loaded with implications I wasn't ready to face. Because the truth was, part of me had stopped thinking about leaving. Part of me had started noticing the way lamplight caught in his dark hair, the scar above his left eyebrow, the rare moments when his expression softened into something almost human. I want my life back, I said instead. Your life was being invaded by a man who wanted to hurt you. He turned fully to face me. I'm offering you something better. Captivity and luxury is still captivity. He moved closer, and I should have stepped back, should have maintained distance. But my feet stayed rooted. You have freedom here, Isabel. Freedom from fear. From looking over your shoulder. From wondering if tonight's the night he breaks down your door.
Over respect and dig a good with us. I will love. We had a current. I live into him.
Would that be so terrible? His hand came up to brush a strand of hair from my face, and I felt the touch all the way to my toes, depending on someone who would burn the world down to keep you safe. You don't even know me. Thanks, I'm whenever you take your coffee black with one sugar. I know you hum when you read, usually Vivaldi, though you probably don't realize you're doing it. His fingers traced down my neck, barely touching, leaving fire in their wake. I know you're terrified right now, but not of me. Of this, whatever this is between us. You know, there's nothing between us. The lie tasted bitter. He smiled, slow and devastating. Then why is your pulse racing? Why did you come looking for me at midnight wearing silk that shows every curve? His thumb found the frantic beat at my throat. Why are you trembling? You're aroused. He said it clinically, but his eyes had gone dark. Tell me to leave you alone, Isabel. Tell me you want nothing to do with a criminal who's holding you captive. Say it, and I'll walk away. I opened my mouth. The words should have been easy. Simple. Safe. Nothing came out. That's what I thought. He dropped his hand, but the loss of contact felt like punishment. Go back to your room, Bella. Before I do something we'll both regret. What if I don't want to go back? The words escaped before I could stop them, hanging in the air like a confession. Dante went absolutely still, every muscle locked with tension. You don't know what you're saying. I know exactly what I'm saying. I stepped closer, close enough, to smell the whiskey on his breath, the smoke and bergamot that was purely him. I'm tired of being afraid, tired of being alone in that beautiful room, wondering why you leave flowers but never stay. Tired of pretending this I gestured between us isn't happening. Isabel, my name was a warning. You said you wanted me to trust you, to follow your instructions. My heart hammered against my ribs. So instruct me, Dante. Tell me what to do. For a long moment, he just stared at me, something dangerous and desperate warring in his expression. Then his control snapped. He pulled me against him with bruising force, one hand tangling in my hair, the other splaying possessively across my lower back. His mouth crashed down on mine, and this kiss was nothing like the one at the club. This was raw need, barely contained violence, 3 days of tension exploding between us. I gasped against his lips, and he took advantage, his tongue sweeping into my mouth with devastating skill. My hands fisted in his shirt, pulling him closer, even though there was no space left between us. He tasted like whiskey and sin and something darkly addictive. He walked me backward until my spine hit the bookshelf, books tumbling around us, forgotten. His hand slid beneath my pajama top, fingers spreading across my ribs, burning through skin. This is a mistake, he breathed against my mouth, even as his lips moved to my jaw, my throat, that sensitive spot behind my ear that made me whimper. Then make it. Go make it. Make it. He pulled back just enough to look at me, his eyes molten. If I do this, if I take what you're offering, there's no going back. You'll be mine, Isabel, completely. And I don't share.
I'm not yours to claim.
His smile was pure predator. Not yet. His hands framed my face with surprising gentleness, thumbs brushing my cheekbones while his eyes searched mine for something I didn't understand.
You're shaking.
Bye-bye. It was true. Beneath the controlled exterior, Dante Moretti trembled with the effort of restraint. I could feel it in the tension of his muscles, see it in the pulse hammering at his throat. I don't do this, he said quietly. Get involved. Care. It makes you weak, vulnerable. His forehead pressed against mine. But you, Christ, you make me want to be weak. Then be weak with me. I rose on my toes, trying to close the distance between us again. He caught my wrists, holding me still. Not like this. Not when you're confused and scared and looking for an escape from reality. His jaw clenched. When I have you, and I will have you, make no mistake. It won't be because you're running from something. It'll be because you're running toward me. I'm not confused.
You're terrified of Marsh, of the situation, of me. He released one wrist to trace my lower lip with his thumb.
And you're using desire to mask fear. I've seen it before. The words stung because they held truth. I was terrified, had been since the moment I'd seen Kevin Marsh at the club. But this, what I felt for Dante, wasn't just fear seeking an outlet. It was something more dangerous. So what now? I asked. You push me away? Send me back to my room like a child. No, he pressed a kiss to my forehead, achingly tender. Now I do what I should have done from the beginning. I court you properly. I laughed, the sound breaking on a sob. Court me? You're holding me prisoner. Gut?
He corrected with a slight smile. And starting tomorrow, you'll see the difference.
He stepped back, putting careful distance between us, and the loss of his heat felt like winter settling into my bones. He picked up his whiskey, drained it, then set the glass down with deliberate care. Go to bed, Isabel, alone, while I still have the strength to let you. I wanted to argue, wanted to close the distance and make him lose control. But something in his expression, vulnerability, mixed with iron will, stopped me. The flowers, I said instead. The white roses. Why? His smile was sad, because you deserve beauty, even here, especially here. A sewer. The next morning, everything changed. Marco knocked on my door at 8, carrying not breakfast, but an invitation written in Dante's precise handwriting. The gardens. 9 o'clock, dress comfortably. I found him waiting by the fountain, dressed in dark jeans and a gray sweater that made him look younger, almost approachable. Almost. You came, he said, as if there'd been doubt.
Did I have it for you?
Always. He offered his arm with old-world courtesy. Walk with me. We moved through gardens that belonged in a fairy tale. Roses, climbing trellises, stone pathways lined with lavender, a small pond where koi flashed gold beneath the surface. Dante didn't touch me beyond my hand on his arm, didn't push or demand. He just talked. About the estate inherited from his grandfather. About growing up in two worlds, the legitimate business his father built and the shadow empire his uncle controlled. About learning early that loyalty was currency and trust was weakness. My mother wanted me to be a doctor, he said, stopping beside a marble bench. Can you imagine? These hands, and he held them up, scarred knuckles, calluses I hadn't noticed before. Holding a scalpel instead of a gun.
What happened to her? Your mother.
Carnice! I was 17. He sat on the bench, and after a moment, I joined him. She made me promise I'd get out, go to college, build something legitimate. I lasted 1 semester before my uncle called me home, said the family needed me, and I came running like a trained dog. You were 17, still a kid. Old enough to know better. He looked at me then, really looked, and I saw the weight he carried. I've done terrible things, Isabel, hurt people, destroyed lives, told myself it was necessary, that it was just business. But the truth is, I liked it. The power, the control, the fear in people's eyes when they realized what I was capable of. Why are you telling me this? Because you deserve to know what you're getting involved with. His hand found mine, fingers interlacing. I'm not a good man. I won't magically become one. But with you, I want to try to be better. My throat tightened. Dante, let me finish. His thumb stroked circles on my palm. I'm giving you a choice. A real one. Stay here with me, see where this goes, knowing exactly what I am, or I'll arrange for you to disappear. New city, new identity. Enough money to start over. Kevin Marsh will never find you.
And if I stay mean,
then you're mine to protect. Mine to cherish. His eyes darkened. Eventually, mine in every way that matters. But on your terms, your timeline. No pressure, no manipulation. That's unexpectedly romantic for a criminal.
And it transformed his face.
I'm full of surprises. We sat in silence, hands linked, while birds sang overhead and sunlight filtered through the trees. It should have felt surreal, this moment of peace with a man who'd admitted to violence, who held me in a gilded cage. But instead, it felt right, like two broken pieces finding unexpected alignment. I need time, I finally said, to think, to process. What do you rehearse ago? To everyone. Take all the time you need. He raised my hand to his lips, pressing a kiss to my knuckles. I'm not going anywhere. His phone buzzed. He glanced at it, and his entire demeanor shifted, shoulders tensing, jaw hardening. What is it? I asked. He stood, pulling me up with him. Kevin Marsh just bought a plane ticket to Chicago. one way, leaving tonight.
Chicago, gehören zur Weltklasse.
Commander.
He doesn't know that. Dante's smile was cold, predatory, which means my plan is working. What plan? I demanded, following Dante as he strode back toward the house with military precision. Dante, what did you do? What was necessary? He was already on his phone, speaking rapid Italian to someone. The only words I caught were aeroporto and what sounded like a death threat. Marco appeared at the terrace doors, tension radiating from every line of his body. Boss, we have a problem. Dante's expression went arctic. Marsh. No, Salvatore. The name meant nothing to me, but Dante's reaction spoke volumes. His hand tightened on his phone until I heard the case crack.
When?
20 minutes ago. He's waiting in your office. Marco's gaze flicked to me, apologetic. He brought men. Six. Dante cursed in Italian, then turned to me. Go to your room, lock the door. Don't open it for anyone but me. Politics. He cupped my face, the gesture both possessive and protective. Dangerous, bloody politics that you don't need to be part of. Please, Isabel, trust me and go. The please undid me. I nodded, and he pressed a hard kiss to my forehead before disappearing into the house with Marco at his heels. I made it halfway to the stairs before curiosity and fear changed my mind. The study door was closed, but not locked. I pressed myself against the wall beside it, heart hammering, and listened. I can't keep her here indefinitely. A voice I didn't recognize, smooth as poisoned honey. People are asking questions, Dante. Questions I'm finding difficult to answer. Salvatore, Dante's voice was cold steel. Since when do I answer to you? Since your little rescue operation started drawing attention from the feds. Papers rustled. Art restoration specialist disappears the same week you have 6 meetings with Chinese import distributors. It looks like you're using her as leverage. A hostage. She's not a hostage. She's under my protection. From what? A pathetic stalker Salvatore laughed, and the sound made my skin crawl. You mobilized half your network, burned favors with the police commissioner, and locked down this estate like it's a fortress. For a woman you met 4 days ago. That's not protection, cousin. That's obsession. Cousin. The word hit me like a fist. My personal life is none of your concern, Dante said. It is when it affects the family business. The commissioner is nervous. They think you're compromised. Weak, a pause. They're calling for a vote. Let them vote. They'll remove you, Dante, strip your territories. Everything our grandfather built. I don't care. The words crack through the air like a gunshot. For once in my God-forsaken life, I don't care about territories or votes, or the commissioner's opinion. She matters more. Silence. Then Salvatore spoke, his voice deadly quiet. You really have lost your mind. Then let me make this simple. Footsteps moving closer to the door. The girl leaves tonight, or I tell the commissioner about the Chicago operation. About the shipment you've been hiding. About the $20 million in unaccounted revenue. My blood turned to ice. You wouldn't, but Dante's voice held doubt. Try me, Mamanta. Salvatore's shadow fell across the crack in the door. I've protected you for years, cousin. Covered your mistakes, lied to our uncle. But this is suicide, and I won't let you drag the family down with you. So what are you proposing? Give me the girl. Let me relocate her properly. Quietly. The stalker gets handled, she gets a new life, and you go back to being the man we need you to be. Salvatore's voice softened. The man your mother wanted you to be.
Don't. The word was wrong. Don't bring her into this. She'd be ashamed of what you've become, what you're willing to sacrifice for a woman you barely know.
Something crashed, glass shattering against the wall. Get out. That's strong. Before I forget, we share blood. Footsteps retreated. The door opened, and I barely had time to duck into a nearby alcove before Salvatore emerged with his men. He was tall, handsome in a cruel way, with Dante's dark eyes but none of his complexity. He paused, turning back to the study. You have until midnight. After that, I make the call. Then he was gone, and I was left trembling in the shadows. I waited until the front door closed before slipping into the study. Dante stood at the window, hands braced against the frame, head bowed. Whiskey dripped down the wall where he'd thrown his glass. "How much did you hear?" he asked without turning. I moved closer, carefully avoiding the broken glass. "You're in trouble. Because of me. I'm always in trouble." He laughed bitterly. "This is just a new flavor of it. Saw your family next you the light down. Don't find that." He spun to face me, and the anguish in his eyes stole my breath. "Don't tell me to let you go. Don't tell me it's not worth it. Don't tell me to choose the family over you, because I already know what I'm going to do." "What are you going to do?" He crossed the room in 3 strides, pulling me against him with desperate force. His forehead pressed to mine, and I felt him shaking. "Something incredibly stupid," he whispered. "Something that will probably get us both killed." "That's not an answer. It's the only one I have." He pulled back to look at me, and his expression was fierce. "I told you I failed, Sophia, that I was too slow, too arrogant. I won't fail you, Isabel, even if it costs me everything. There has to be another way to cure." The lights went out. Every light in the house, all at once, plunging us into darkness.
Dante's hand found mine in the blackness. "Stay close to me. Don't make a sound."
Then I heard it. Footsteps. Multiple sets. Moving through the house with military precision. Defense. I whispered. His lips brushed my ear. "It's not Salvatore. Training the throne, Chikiden effortlessly. The titter to me is strongest is that bringing out unity from a staying up the Fox Club. There's a brief review between yet Saturdays. Working to be in a little was in the work listening. Leaving the reforming and the man in best helping the just fathers and puts it to straight. Starting Texas name. Look, someone left them. But how about getting my hand you know, living into the same thing as you holiday. No. Wait, the tone. The study door exploded inward in a shower of splinters. Dante shoved me behind him as 3 men poured through the shattered doorway, their faces obscured by darkness and tactical masks. Red laser sights cut through the black, painting death across the walls. "Stay down," Dante commanded, and I dropped to my knees as gunfire erupted. The sound was deafening, sharp cracks that made my ears ring. Dante moved like liquid violence, pulling his weapon from the shoulder holster and returning fire in one fluid motion. Glass exploded behind me. Books burst into confetti. The air smelled like gunpowder and fear. I scrambled backward on my hands and knees, my palms grinding into broken glass. Pain bloomed hot, but adrenaline swallowed it whole. Another man appeared in the doorway, and Dante's bullet caught him in the chest. He went down hard. The window, Dante shouted, dragging me toward the floor-to-ceiling glass overlooking the gardens. "When I say go, you run and don't look back." Map Herb, a Samtha, a family landlord. "Can you look at one sidelight? She prove this upper go hoe?"
Like Eve.
This isn't a discussion. He fired twice more and someone screamed. "Marco knows the protocol. He'll meet you at the south gate. There's a car. Keys in the ignition. Drive to." The window behind us shattered inward. I felt Dante's body jerk, stumble. Warm wetness sprayed across my face. Blood.
No.
Oh God, her messy fill. My hands slipping and the crimson spreading across his shirt.
Ending the dings. "Go," he gasped, pressing his gun into my trembling hands. "Please, Bella, please."
"I'm not leaving you."
More footsteps. Someone was coming through the window. Dante tried to push me away, but his strength was failing. I could see it in the way his eyes fought to focus, the way his breathing came in shallow gasps. The gun in my hand felt foreign, impossibly heavy. Safety left side. Just point and squeeze, Dante whispered, his hand covering mine, guiding my fingers. You can do this. A figure climbed through the window frame, silhouetted against the moonlight, male, tall, armed. I raised the gun with shaking hands. Well, oh well. The voice stopped me cold. Isn't this romantic? Kevin Marsh stepped into the dim light filtering through the broken window, and my entire body went numb. He looked different from the photographs, thinner, wilder, his eyes burning with an intensity that spoke of madness barely contained. He held a gun loosely at his side like it was an afterthought. Kevin? The word came out broken.
You sound surprised, Isabel.
He smiled, and it was the most terrifying thing I'd ever seen. Did you think I was in Chicago? That was misdirection, sweetheart. I've been watching this house for 3 days, waiting for the perfect moment. Dante tried to sit up, failed. This isn't about her. It's about me. Take it up with me.
Oh, but it is about her.
Kevin moved closer, and I raised the gun higher. He laughed. You won't shoot me. You're not like him. You're good, pure. That's why I love you.
You don't love me. You don't even know me.
I know everything about you. His voice turned tender, which was somehow worse than anger. Your favorite color is blue. You hum Vivaldi when you're concentrating. You take your coffee black with 1 sugar. You bite your lip when you're nervous like you're doing right now. The details jarred taste sauce. Coming from Kevin's mouth made me want to vomit. How long have you been watching me? I asked, buying time while Dante's blood pooled beneath us. Since the day you started, at the museum. 8 months, 2 weeks, 3 days. He said it like it was romantic. I knew the moment I saw you that you were meant to be mine. But then Kevin's face twisted with rage as he looked at Dante. He took you, locked you away like a princess in a tower, made you think he was saving you when really he was just keeping you for himself. He was protecting me from you. I would never hurt you. Kevin's shout made me flinch. Everything I've done has been for you, following you to keep you safe, coming into your apartment to feel close to you. Even this Elaine, he gestured at the destruction around us, I did for you. I hired these men to eliminate your captor so we could finally be together.
You're insane.
I'm in love. He extended his hand. Come with me now, Isabel. Leave him to bleed out. We can start over. Just the two of us. The way it was always meant to be. Dante's hand tightened on mine, his strength fading. Don't, he breathed. Don't go.
Kevin's expression darkened. He's dying anyway. Don't waste your tears on a criminal, on a man who kidnapped you, held you prisoner, made you Stockholm Syndrome your way into his bed.
He didn't kidnap me. I chose to stay. The words came out clear, certain. I chose him. Something broke in Kevin's eyes. The last fragment of humanity crumbled, leaving only madness. Then you're as guilty as he is. His gun came up, aimed at my chest. I can't have you, neither can he. I squeezed the trigger. The recoil knocked me backward into Dante's chest. The sound was thunder in my skull. Kevin's face registered surprise, then pain, then nothing as he crumpled to the floor. For a moment, there was only silence and the ringing in my ears. Then Dante's arms wrapped around me from behind, weak but present. Good girl, he whispered against my hair. You're so goddamn brave. You're shot. I turned in his arms, seeing the wound in his shoulder clearly now. We need to get you help. Marco, he managed, then slumped against me.
I shouldn't. Deal with me.
Footsteps pounded up the hallway. I raised the gun again with trembling, blood-slicked hands, ready to kill anyone who came through that door. Marco burst in, and I almost shot him. Bops, he dropped to his knees beside us. Madre de Dio. Hospital. I gasped. He needs no hospital. Too many questions. Marco was already pulling out his phone. We have a doctor. He's coming. I looked down at Dante's face, pale in the darkness, and realized I was crying. I do it again. The doctor arrived 20 minutes later, a woman in her 50s with steady hands and eyes that had seen too much. She set up in Dante's bedroom, working by lamplight while Marco and 2 other men disposed of the bodies. I sat in a chair by the window, still wearing pajamas soaked with blood, and watched her extract the bullet from Dante's shoulder. He didn't make a sound, just gripped the bedpost with white knuckles while she worked, his jaw locked tight enough to shatter teeth. When she finally dropped the bullet into a metal dish with a clink, I felt something inside me crack. "You're lucky," the doctor said, cleaning the wound. 2 inches lower, and it would have hit the subclavian artery. You'd be dead. Lucky, Dante repeated, his voice hoarse. That's one word for it. She stitched him up with efficient precision, gave him antibiotics and pain medication he refused to take, then left without asking a single question about the bullet holes in the walls or the blood on the floor. "She used to work for your grandfather," Marco explained when I asked. "Knows how to be discreet." Now Marco was gone too, leaving us alone in the pre-dawn darkness. I stood on shaking legs and moved to the bathroom. My reflection in the mirror was a stranger, wild-eyed, blood-streaked, a smear of crimson across my cheek like war paint. My hands were still trembling as I turned on the water. I scrubbed until my skin was raw, watching the water run pink, then red, then clear. But I could still feel it. Kevin's blood, Dante's blood, the weight of the gun, the recoil, the moment of absolute clarity when I'd pulled the trigger. I'd killed him. The thought should have destroyed me, should have sent me spiraling into horror and guilt. Instead, I felt nothing. Emptiness where trauma should have lived.
Isabel.
Isabel, Dante's voice from the doorway. "Come here." I turned to find him leaning against the frame, his shoulder bandaged, his chest bare. He looked like a fallen angel, beautiful and dangerous, and somehow more vulnerable than I'd ever seen him. "You should be resting," I said. "So should you." He extended his good hand. "Please." I crossed to him, and he pulled me against his uninjured side, guiding me back to the bed. We lay down together, his arm around me, my head on his chest where I could hear his heartbeat, steady, strong, alive. "I killed him," I whispered. "Me? You survived him." His fingers combed through my damp hair. "There's a difference." "I don't feel guilty. Shouldn't I feel guilty?" "Only if you believe his life was worth more than yours." His lips pressed against my forehead. "You did what you had to do, what I should have done weeks ago. The men he hired, where are they?" "Gone. Marco's people are cleaning up. By morning, there will be no evidence any of this happened." His hand tightened on my waist, except for my bullet wound, which I'll tell everyone came from a hunting accident. And Salvatore, the comedian. Dante's laugh was bitter. "That's a problem for tomorrow. Tonight, I just want to hold you and be grateful you're alive." We lay in silence, listening to the house settle around us. Outside, birds began their morning songs, oblivious to the violence that had occurred. "Why did you stay?" Dante asked suddenly. "When Kevin told you to leave, to let me die. You could have run." "Because you were right." I tilted my head to look at him. "I'm not running from something anymore. I'm running toward you." His eyes darkened with emotion, too complex to name. "I don't deserve you." "Probably not." I traced the line of his jaw, "but I'm yours anyway." I mean it. I sat up, needing him to see my face, to understand I wasn't speaking from shock or gratitude. "I choose you, the criminal, the killer, the man who threatened his entire empire to keep me safe. I choose all of it." He pulled me down to him, his kiss gentle despite the violence we'd survived. His good hand cupped my face, thumb brushing away tears I hadn't realized I was crying. "Then I'm yours too." He breathed against my lips, completely, irrevocably, until my last breath. Ha ha ha. That's very dramatic. I'm Italian. It's genetic. His smile faded, but I mean it, Bella. Everything I am, everything I have, it's yours. The good, the bad, and the blood-soaked. I kissed him again, deeper this time, pouring everything I couldn't say into the press of lips and tongue. His hand slid beneath my shirt, borrowed too large, still damp from washing, and I felt his fingers tremble against my skin. Not tonight, I said, though every part of me ached for more. You're hurt. You need rest. What I need, but he didn't push. Just held me close, his breathing gradually evening out. Stay with me. Just stay.
I'm not going anywhere.
His eyes were already closing, the pain medication and blood loss finally dragging him under. Promise, promise. I settled against his uninjured side, my hand over his heart. Sleep, Dante. I'll keep watch. My fierce little killer, he murmured, already half asleep. Who knew you'd be so bloodthirsty? Only for you. He smiled, and then he was gone. Lost to exhaustion and trauma, and the body's desperate need to heal. I stayed awake, watching dawn paint the sky in shades of pink and gold. Somewhere in the house, Marco's men were erasing evidence of murder. Somewhere in the city, Salvatore was planning his next move. And somewhere inside me, a line had been crossed that could never be uncrossed. I'd killed for Dante Moretti, and I'd do it again without accuracy. The realization should have terrified me. Instead, it felt like acceptance, like finally understanding who I was becoming in his world.
We're gonna begin.
Something far more dangerous. His equal. Dante slept for 18 hours straight. I stayed by his side through all of it, leaving only when Marco brought food I couldn't eat and updates I didn't want to hear. The police had ruled Kevin Marsh's death a gang-related incident. Convenient, considering 3 other bodies had been found in similar condition. Salvatore had gone quiet, which Marco said was more dangerous than threats. He's planning something, Marco warned, standing guard by the bedroom door. The Committente meets in 3 days. What will they do? His expression was grim. Depends on what Salvatore tells them, and whether the boss can convince them he's still fit to lead. I looked at Dante's sleeping form, at the bandages staining through with blood, at the face that looked younger in sleep, less haunted. He won't give me up, I said quietly. Will he? Marco's silence was answer enough. Dante woke at sunset, his eyes finding mine immediately in the dim light.
She'll stay here.
His voice was rough with sleep and emotion. Where else would I be? I moved to the bed, sitting on the edge. How do you feel?
Looked like I've been shot. He tried to sit up, winced, then let me help him. How long?
Almost a full day. Marco's been handling things. Salvatore, quiet. He cursed in Italian. That means he's sharpening his knives. His good hand found mine, fingers interlacing. Isabel, we need to talk about what happens next. I know, I'd had 18 hours to think about nothing else. The commissione, your position, the choice you'll have to make. There's no choice. His grip tightened. I already made it the moment I kissed you in that club. Let me finish. He pulled me closer until I was pressed against his uninjured side. I've spent 15 years building an empire I never wanted, playing a role my uncle wrote for me, being the man everyone needed me to be. And for what? Money? Power? The family's approval. He laughed bitterly. None of it means anything without you. You're not thinking clearly. The medication. I'm thinking perfectly clearly for the first time in my life. His hand cupped my face, forcing me to meet his eyes. I love you, Isabel Chen. I've loved you since you looked at me across that dance floor with fear and fire in your eyes. Since you kissed me back when you should have run, since you pulled a trigger to save my worthless life.
You don't love me. You barely know me.
I know you hum Vivaldi when you're nervous. I know you're braver than anyone I've ever met. I know you see the monster in me and choose me anyway. His thumb brushed my cheekbone. I know that losing you would destroy me more completely than any bullet ever could. Tears spilled down my cheeks. This is insane. Yes, he smiled. But so are we. I kissed him then, tasting salt and truth and the terrifying weight of words that couldn't be unsaid. His good arm pulled me closer, and I was careful not to jar his injured shoulder as I settled against him. I love you too, I whispered against his lips.
God help me. I love you too.
Then marry me.
I pulled back, certain I'd misheard.
Marry me. His expression was absolutely serious. Before the commissione meets, before Salvatore makes his move, make it impossible for anyone to separate us. That's not how marriage works. With understand for trashing baby talking to you.
To me, Brent.
In my world, it is. His fingers traced my jaw. A wife can't be forced to testify against her husband, can't be used as leverage, and the commissione respects family bonds. If you're my wife, Salvatore's accusations lose their power. So this is strategy, a business move.
This is survival. He pressed his forehead to mine. And love. And desperate hope that you'll say yes to a man who doesn't deserve you, but will spend every day trying to be worthy of you.
I'm shilling me, Nessie. My heart hammered against my ribs. This is crazy. I know. We've known each other less than a week. I killed a man yesterday. I know. His lips brushed mine. And you're still the best thing that's ever happened to me. I should have said no. Should have been reasonable, cautious, sane. But somewhere between the club and the blood and the bullet, I'd stopped being any of those things. Yes, I breathed. Yes, I'll marry you. His smile was blinding. He kissed me deeply, thoroughly, until I was dizzy with it. When we finally broke apart, he was already reaching for his phone. Marco, he said when the call connected, I need a priest, tonight, and a ring. Something simple, elegant. He looked at me. What's your ring size? I don't know, 6, maybe 6.5. 6.5 white gold, no diamonds, something she can wear every day without thinking about. He paused, listening. I don't care what you have to do or who you have to wake up. Make it happen. He ended the call and pulled me back against him. We'll be married by midnight.
In bedroom.
I've stood through worse. His hand slid into my hair. Nothing is keeping me from making you mine, officially, legally, irrevocably. Dante Moretti, you're insane. Dante Moretti Chen, he corrected with a slight smile. We're hyphenating. I'm very modern. Despite everything, the blood, the bodies, the danger still lurking. I laughed. Real, genuine laughter that felt like light breaking through darkness. We were married 3 hours later in Dante's private chapel, with Marco as witness and a priest who asked no questions. I wore a simple white dress that appeared like magic, and Dante stood tall despite the pain, his hand steady as he slid a platinum band onto my finger. When the priest said, "You may kiss your bride," Dante pulled me close and whispered against my lips, "Mine."
Yours. I agreed, always.
Outside, dawn was breaking over the estate. A new day, a new life will enter Hazard to hand. And whatever came next, Salvatore, the Caminesi, the darkness that lived in Dante's world, we'd face it together.